What does Brevin bring to the table for you guys?
Experience, you know, versatility in terms of being able to add some shooting, and, you know, he's a strong guy. Like he's different than Alex. He's bigger and stronger than Alex. They both can shoot, but, you know, enthusiasm because of his excitement to be at Clemson. You know, we haven't really seen Brevin at his highest, because he still has kind of been battling the knee and getting all the way back, but he's just about there. I think he feels more comfortable today than he has since he's been with us. But he's, you know, you guys have seen him, very lighthearted, very fun. I mean, easygoing personality. Every once in a while needs to be told that we need to be a little more, you know, over here to the right. But he's a good player, and I think where he's going to be really valuable for us is in the heat of battle, like when we're on the road in ACC environments. He's been there, he's done it. He knows he's not going to be bug-eyed like some freshmen might be, or young players that haven't played a lot in those kind of environments. You've got a proven guy that has made shots in big games, and so he'll help us a lot that way.
Seems like he's cultivated a really good relationship with Alex already off the bat. Has he kind of bonded with his teammates more than most transfers?
I think it's been a little easier because he probably feels like he knows the guys, having been in the league and just been around Clemson a little bit. But it's not just he and Alex, it's all of the guys. I mean, I think, you know, he knows some of the guys, Josh and PJ, from being from the state. And so I think it was a seamless transition. You know, it is different a lot of times when you have grad guys or fifth-year guys like we had last year, and then you've got some young freshmen and sophomores. And sometimes, you know, teams don't always gel as quickly because the grad guys and the freshmen don't have that much in common, to be honest with you. One guy's getting there and trying to figure it out, and, you know, the other guy's, you know, the freshman's really eager, and the older guy's kind of like, yeah, we got to get through this to get to the games. And it's just different, right? They're in different stages. I think this group has been different. Some of it because Hunter, the nature of Hunter having been here for 5 years, and Hunter really wants to win and really wants to lead and really wants to continue to grow our culture with the young guys we have, and is very proud of our program and our culture and how we do things. Brevin, because he's coming back to Clemson, he's still got some of that youthful enthusiasm that some older guys might not have. And so that's why I say this group has been a little bit different. It's been a lot of fun. They've been you know, really special together. It's fun to watch them. You know, I've said this before, but one of the great things of the trip was just watching the guys in Paris. There'd be bikes there, and guys would go, there'd be 7 or 8 of them, and it could be anybody at any age, and there one day it's these 7 or 8, and the next day it's these 6 or 7, and it's just all different guys going and hanging out and doing fun stuff together, and, you know, not planning it, and just happening organically. And I think when that's happening, that's really good for your team.
Your defense has been such a big part of your team's identity over the years. Obviously got away from that a little bit last year. What do you need to see to know that your team's going to get back to the defense you expect?
Yeah, we just have to play better on the defensive end, especially late in games. I thought we had more games at the end last year where we had needed stops and didn't get them that cost us. You know, you're sometimes going to have the ball and you're going to get a shot and you don't make it, but, you know, if you've got the lead in the last minute or so and you're trying to get stops to finish it off, you hope you can do that, right? And last year's team wasn't able to do that. I think that's one of the major areas of improvement for PJ, is he's got to take another step as a defensive center. He's got to be even better in his ball screen coverage. He's got to protect our rim. He's got to rebound more. He's got to affect shots more. I think that's something that he and I have talked about. That's one of the disappointing things for me, is that was something I really wanted to work with him on this off season. And it's, you know, we're going to have to wait until he gets all the way back before you can really do all those things. But he's a big part of that, because he's kind of your middle linebacker, and, you know, the center, and Ben and Ian, that's what they've been taught. And the way the game is played now, you know, with all the ball screens, with 5 men, those guys are asked to do a lot. The point guards and the centers are asked to do a lot in basketball right now, more so than the wings, especially with all the pick and roll coverages and getting up and down the floor. I mean, there's a lot on those guys. And so it starts there with our defense, and we got to be better at that position.
What's the challenge like with trying to, I guess, balance how to, like you're obviously gonna play different when PJ gets back, just trying to figure out how much time to spend. without
Yeah,
thinking
yeah,
about
that part's really hard right now. Like, that's one of the biggest challenges is figuring out what that does to the other guys that have kind of all, like, you would think we have Hunter and RJ kind of working against each other every day at the 4, and Chauncey Wiggins a little bit, and Ian and Ben kind of battling every day at the 5. And so you get a comfort level of, you might switch 1 or 2 guys right here or there and take a look and see what happens. Well, then the big fella comes back and it kind of moves a lot, might move Ian down, it might move Hunter, it might move people around, and then, well, that affects other things. And so, that's gonna be a challenge for our whole team. I say we're a team, and I say we all are, care about each other and really wanna win, but the big fella's gonna take some minutes from some other guys that for a long time now, they've been getting more minutes. When he comes back and he's really at full strength and he's playing 28, 32 minutes, those are minutes that are coming off of another plate. And so that'll be a challenge. And so just managing how much he'll be able to play, how to play, because we play a little different with him sometimes. And so that's been a real challenge for our staff, and something we just started to look at here the last week or so.
Coach Chauncey Gibson, 6'5". It's been a while since you've had a guard that tall. How good is it to get some size at the guard position?
It is. He's a 2-3 wing. He brings size. He brings some shooting. Pretty good decision making. He's probably struggling a little bit right now just with physicality and pace. Having said that, I think he has a good upside moving forward. We're talking. There's a chance we could redshirt him. We're not 100% sure. We're discussing it a little bit and kind of monitoring how things are going. I thought it was a really good process for Josh Beadle last year, just allowing a guy to gain some strength and we have some experienced players bringing Brevin in that's probably eaten into him. And if you start moving Hunter Tyson now down to 3 occasionally, now it gets hard to play all these guys. And so we got to look at it. But I like his length. He's going to be a big, strong kid in another year. Like, he's got good legs. I mean, he can fill out, and he's got a little bounce to him. So he's got some ability that I really like, and size, as you meant, at the position. I think that's one of the things RJ, Dylan, Chauncey are both, all 4 of those guys are good size for their position, and a couple of them have great strength already. So that's rare as freshmen.
Sorry, I know you said RJ and Dylan would play meaningful right away. What about Chauncey Wiggins? How do you kind of
Maybe, yeah, there's a chance. He's 6'10", like, he's just big, long. He needs strength. He's still getting comfortable with the pace of everything, but there are days he does things that other guys can't do because he's 6'10". He can shoot over top of people. He can make threes. He's slowly figuring it out, and it's been fun. It's been exciting. He's a different kind of player, and so it's watching him adjust is he's like a young colt out there. Just the way he does some things every once in a while. Like, he's one of the only guys on the team that can do that. And now then he has trouble with some plays, but he's got a big ceiling.
Being that Brevin worked with Earl
Yeah.
the last few years, how much does it help you on the defensive end because of the philosophy you guys have?
A little, not as much as you would think. It's a lot of us play similar in some ways, but there's a lot of terminology that's probably a little bit different. But it is good, that he knows that's going to be important here, right? And if he wants to play consistently, he better play on that end. And he's found that out a few days in practice, but he's been really good. Brevin's been good. I think he's excited, and when he's locked in and he's healthy, he can be a physical presence that we need. David Collins was a good player for us. He was a big, strong wing that when he was locked in on some people, he could really guard, and found a way to score some baskets around, and ended up really at the end of the year, I thought he got comfortable and played really well. And so we needed another bigger body guy to help guard some bigger wings. I think Brevin feels that.
Coach, early game at South Carolina this season. Your thoughts about that and just the way the schedule lays out?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not thinking a whole lot about it right now, but I think we have a really good schedule. You know, we've got some teams, Bellarmine, Towson, that, you know, won their leagues last year. We've done this the last several years, tried to find a couple games against, you know, good mid-major teams that we think can win their league and can be quality wins. The Richmonds and the Loyola Chicagos are outstanding neutral court games against really good teams that are very well coached, that good chance those are tournament teams. And then obviously our TCU, Iowa, Cal tournament, good. TCU's a top 15 team in the country. Iowa's been to the tournament a bunch, has really good players. So yeah, we've got a lot of really good games. Penn State, I think, is kind of a sleeper team in the Big Ten. They had a nice first year with their coach, and so they'll probably make a little jump as a sophomore team for him. And so it's really good. And then obviously the league's going to be great. So we'll, you know, it's kind of strange. Last year the league was kind of downplayed because we didn't play very well in November and December, but you know, by February the league, having been in it, the league was as good as it usually is, and it, you know, it bore that out in the tournament with all the success. I think there's something wrong with college basketball now where it's so much of all of the narrative is written about leagues in November and December, and once that's done, it's hard to flip it back. You don't play other non-conference games later in the year to ever give it a chance. And you know, you have a league like ours where maybe you have a bunch of turnover and teams are just, Miami was different later in the year than early. Duke, you know, teams just get better. You're so much different than you are November to February. Sometimes you're not even playing some of the same guys as many minutes. Maybe you've changed your style. You thought you were going to be able to play zone. You can't play zone. It doesn't work. You need to go back to what you were doing, or you need to press more, whatever. And now you're playing completely different. And by the time everybody gets to the league in January and February, you figured your team out, and now you try to coach them the best you can. But it takes a little while to figure your team out, and so, you know, that's a problem. And we've talked as a league and about what to do. Do you open up some dates in the middle of the league? You know, I don't know. Do you play more league games early and open up dates? Do you play less league games and then put more non-conference games middle of the? I don't know. We've talked about a bunch of different scenarios, but obviously the TV part of it makes it challenging to change. So, but nobody was very happy with us getting 5 teams in last year. That's not good for the league. So
Probably have time for 1 or 2 more if anyone has one.
Chase Hunter, what are you expecting of Chase?
yeah, I think Chase has had a really good off season. It's, you know, he's battled some injuries off and on, foot and hand injuries, and is, you know, hasn't had as many, I guess, off seasons or quality practices in a row to kind of get development. But I think he's on point to have a good year. He's played a lot of point guard for us, and you know, he's always been a good decision maker. He's always been a guy that can handle and make plays out of the pick and roll, and he's just playing with a lot of confidence. He can play all over the place. I just like where he is right now. Unfortunately, he was the guy that got knee in the thigh in practice, kind of the week that we went to France, and so he wasn't moving very well that week over in France, and I think we didn't even play him one game. We probably shouldn't have played him much at all. So that was kind of misleading, but he's back practicing very well, and he's an important player, and I think he'll be really good this year.
Was Normandy as special and moving for you and your guys as you thought it would be? And did your daughter handcuff you and make you go up to the top of the Eiffel Tower?
No, yeah, I'm petrified of heights, so no, I was not gonna get anywhere near that. We took pictures at the bottom, so we can check that box, that and the Arc de Triomphe. But no, Normandy was out of sight. I mean, it's inspiring. It's humbling to think about the courage that the young people had to get out of those boats. And when you're up on those cliffs and you're looking at, like, thinking about being in a boat and trying to get out of there and get up a cliff, well, they're shooting at you and there's nowhere to hide. I mean, the courage it's incredible. The sacrifice, it's like when you sit there and you kind of watch movies on it and you see some things, and then you get there and you really see what they had to do, you don't know how it's even possible. And I mean, it makes you really understand that we haven't done much in our generation. mindful of that to those that have, because it's completely different. Then you go to the cemetery, right, the National Cemetery, and you see all that, and that was really well done. And Max Allen and President Clements were with us, or, well, Max couldn't be with us, but Max had organized it to where we had, I think it was 5 or 6 Clemson students that are buried there, and that was really memorable and moving to go to some of those graves with your team, right? Take some of your team there and learn a little bit about those people. So that was well done, and Max Allen really did a lot of work on that, so thankful to him for that part of the trip.
Outside of PJ, everyone else helped you? Good.
Right now, everybody's good. We've had a couple of groin injuries and ankles and stuff, but we bounced back, and right now, as of today, we're good.
Anybody else?
Okay? Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Coach.